The I-Team has heard from a lot of viewers who say they never got their middle class tax refunds because scammers stole the money before it reached them. And many tell us they never could get through to the company hired by the state to run that program. Now a new audit reveals despite those problems, that same company was just hired by the state to handle unemployment benefits. We first introduced you to the stand-up comic last fall.
Do you ever think you're not that smart? One day you're talking to somebody in 5 minutes time compared to them, you realize you're a freaking genius. Right, married people?
Pete George told us trying to get his middle-class tax refund was no joke. His debit card loaded with $350 never came. He eventually learned a scammer had stolen the card and drained the funds at a nearby ATM.
I just don't like people getting away with things like this or companies getting away with it.
Same thing happened to Jay Ryan.
If it was stolen out of the mail, of course it was used. That's why criminals steal cards.
The I-Team heard from dozens of people with the same problem, and they say trying to reach someone at Money Network, the company the state hired to run the program, was nearly impossible.
I think one time I waited an hour and a half.
And hundreds of thousands of others may have had the same problem. The state auditor released a report saying Money Network failed to answer 900,000 of the 2 million calls from residents who wanted to speak with an agent about the program or problems with their cards. And because of that, the auditor said it's impossible to track how much fraud occurred, even though, per its $25 million contract with the state, Money Network was supposed to limit the rate of fraud to 1%.
Well, it's clearly a failure, and it's not a good grade.
Assemblymember Tom Lackey isn't happy with the audit results. He wants more accountability, especially since the state just signed another $32 million contract with Money Network to handle unemployment benefits, or EDD.
We should have accountability piece in the contract that says that they're going to respond better than they did in the past. And these are accountability measures that aren't rocket science.
EDD told the I-Team things are different under this new contract. For starters, it's requiring Money Network to operate call centers 24/7, and 80% of the calls must be answered within 30 seconds. The debit cards will also contain a chip, something that hasn't been done in the past, which will make them harder for scammers to hack and should reduce fraud.
Total fraud is hard to eliminate, but we should clearly do a more responsible job in reacting to the problem.
In response to the audit, Money Network noted the auditor said it generally followed certain best practices for fraud risk management. Money Network also said it absorbed the cost of fraud. The Franchise Tax Board, the agency in charge of the middle class tax refund, had this to say about the audit. We concur there are important lessons to be learned for any future large-scale financial relief programs. Now, most viewers who reached out to the I-Team about their problems with the refund did get their money after we got involved. But according to the audit, more than 1 million debit cards that are worth approximately $611 million still have not been activated. The audit noted that the state and Money Network did a good job of distributing that money quickly. We have a link to the audit for you on our website, NBCLA.com.